stuff right here.
Put it under that.
Are you giving again?
Oh yeah. Okay, so next section is still on similar triangles. Okay? And what we're looking for here is shortcuts that we can use to tell if two triangles are similar or not. And so this should remind you of the good old days of congruent triangles. When we had, what were some congruency shortcuts we had?
SSA.
SSA was not one.
Okay.
SAS was one. ASA, SSS, those kinds of things, okay? So we're going to do the same thing with these. So the ones that we found for the congruence that worked were SSS, SAS, ASA, and SAA. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see if the same thing is true for similar triangles, okay? You good? We're going to see if any of those hold true for similarity of triangles. All right? And so they're going to start with the very most basic one, which is so ridiculous. I don't know why they consider it. First question is, if you have one angle that's congruent in two different triangles, does that mean the two triangles are for sure similar? No, obviously not. So here they have an example of a 48-degree angle that matches up in both of these triangles, but clearly these triangles are not similar, right? So A is not a shortcut, okay? What about if we do two of the angles, okay? If you have two angles that are congruent, what do you know is true about the third angle for sure?
It has
to be the same as the third, because why?
Because
they have to add up to 180. So if the two of them are equal, then what's left has to be equal as well. And so that tells you for sure that all the angles are the same. And then it turns out from there with triangles, this is not true of other shapes, but with triangles, if I start with any old triangle, like this right here, and if I take that triangle and make the angles the same, but have the triangle change size, then these two triangles, can you see, are going to end up being still similar. It's just, as long as the angles stay the same, then you maintain the same shape. Okay? So that is our first conjecture of this chapter. I haven't done a conjecture for a little while. Fill in the blanks for me. If what angles of one triangle? Two. So if you have two angles of one triangle, which are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then they're not congruent. They are similar. Bless you, Richard. Okay? Because we're talking, remember here, about similarity, not congruence anymore. Although I'm sure they'll ask you some questions about congruency again.
Can you read that?
If two, first of all, it's called the AA similarity conjecture.
The AA?
Angle. If two, not that AA. If two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the two triangles are similar. Then they are similar. He thinks he's pretty funny. No, I'm just waiting until everybody copies that down. Okay, next one.
Okay, Weaver wasn't done, but alright.
Who wasn't? Jennifer? Okay.
Weaver.
Good, yeah.
It's weird how there's fewer people here today, but you're being noisier than usual.
Because it's just the group right here.
Is that what it is? Make up for Maddie. All right. Okay.
It's actually quiet in here if you think about it like that.
Okay. So So now we're going to think about if we can do it with only two sides, okay? And so what they have right here is this side right here is half of that side, okay? So the first thing you need to understand is that when we talking about sides in similar triangles, we're not saying the sides have to be congruent, they have to be proportional. So this side right here is half of that one, this side right here is half of that one, so you have two sides of a triangle that are proportional. Are these triangles similar?
Yes.
No. What's this angle right here? This appears to be a 90-degree angle. What's this angle right here?
How do you
It's
know?
definitely
how do
an
you know?
obtuse. Okay?
You can't just guess, it doesn't say it.
You're right. I'm being bad, and I'm making an assumption. Okay?
Stupid bad.
You just cheated.
I just cheated. Okay? I'm a cheater pants. So what that means is that side does not work. Okay? Because those two triangles are not similar to each other. Okay? What about if you have all three sides proportional? What do you think then?
Yes.
Okay, yes, and so that will work. And so that is our next one. Not surprisingly, it is called the SSS similarity conjecture. Okay? And again, what you need to understand is, unlike when the triangles were congruent, when we said SSS, that meant the sides were what? The same. But when we're talking about similarity, when I say SSS, that means the sides are proportional, not the same length, but they're in the same ratio. They're all twice as big or 3 times as big or something like that. Okay? So this one just says if the 3 sides of one triangle are proportional to the 3 sides of another triangle, then the 2 triangles are what? Similar. And if you're having trouble seeing all the way up to the board, this is on page 590 of your book. You can see it a little easier there. Okay? Wow. All right, and then the last one that works for us.
Hey, Rick. Rick. The kid that was pitching when you walked is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, I was getting the swing my plate wrist up the back.
Okay, then hold on a sec. And the last one that works is side angle side. Did I go? Wait. Oh, similar. Side angle side also works, and just like when we did congruency, the location of the A in this is important. Where is it?
Middle.
In the middle of the 2 sides, and so that means that the angle that's the same has to be in between the 2 sides. So the S's in here means sides are proportional. But the A in here means the angles have to be what? Right, the angles have to actually be congruent. They can't just be proportional or proportionate. Okay? So the sides are proportionate, the angles are congruent. So fill in the blanks here. If 2 sides of one triangle are proportional to 2 sides of another triangle, and what goes in the little question mark there? And the angle is, what do you say? Congruent, okay. Then the, good, triangles are similar. All right? And it turns out that just like in the congruency thing, side angle also does not work, and the reason for that is because if you know that if they don't have to even be congruent, then they're not going to be similar. Okay, so our only ones for similarity are angle, side, side, angle, side. Now, we did not talk about angle, side, angle. Why not? It does work, but why did we talk about it? Yes? Right, because we already did that when we talked about angle, angle, okay? So when we have two angles, we don't even care about this side at all. As long as we have two angles, then we are good to go. All right?
Yes.
Okay. So that one was a no. Okay, so you are silent.
One through two.